Welcome and Brochim Abayim for joining us again on our daily Zohar. We all live, not in the yellow submarine, we all live in what we think is a reality. But the question is, did we ever bother to really define what reality is, to really see if we live in a reality? Reality on all its aspects has two parts, two segments to it. One is going to be what is so-called in Kabbalah the chomer, material, and everything else that goes along with it, materialism, physical. And the second one is called tzura. Tzura in Hebrew is shape. And that is the spiritual aspect, the soul, and everything else that goes along with it. The best example to the matter is humans, a person, where we look at the person that he has a physical reality, which is going to be his body, his shape, his external shape, what we call. And then on the other side, we do distinguish and we are aware that that particular person, that physical shape, also has something else in it, which is going to be the human soul, the neshama, the human soul, which is the spiritual shape of him. So in a way, could be possible a certain conflict between your physical form and your spiritual form. In one hand, you might look maybe big physically, but spiritually very small, and the other way around. Sometimes it would be a certain level of imbalance, and let's see now, or sometimes it will be balanced. We don't know really how those things work, and that's what we're trying to find out here. When we refer to a person and we say, oh, this person is a brave person, or this person is a truthful person, we could distinguish at the body of the person what is, the material part of him, if he's strong, is whatever that is. And we could also refer to, when we say this person is gibor, is a hero, is mighty, he's this, we could refer to the spiritual part of him. And let's try to see exactly what does that mean. When we refer to the physical form of the person, the guy lifts weights, he has certain physiological gifts or criteria that allow him to be broader, bigger, and so on and so forth. But yet, sometimes we see those heroes that get medals, Congressional Medal of Honor, and Bravery, and Silver Star, and Bronze Star, and all those different medals. Not necessarily are the biggest guys physically, but yet there was something in them that caused them this act of heroism, for example, in a battlefield, and that we call him a gibor, a hero. When that happens in Lashon HaKabbalah, we say that the light or the filter, again, I call those attributes as filters, because one has to understand the light that comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one, is bright, is clear, if you can use those terms, but just using it to. And imagine that there is this beam of light, this huge projector of light that shines, constantly, and then you take different filters and you put it on the lens. At one time it will be a red filter, and the light that will come up will be red. Something will be a green filter. It's a similar concept like they do in the Empire State Building, when they change the colors all the time. It's different filters on the light. The light source itself does not change. The filters change. So when we say that the person became a hero, not in a physical way, but spiritually, means that the filter of gvura, heroism, what we call mitlabesh, fits on him or came upon him, and that in return created him or allowed him to become the hero that he was by certain acts. In other words, we took the spiritual aspect and then we turned it into a physical aspect of, doing something brave or of that sort. And by doing so, he becomes what he becomes. He becomes that hero. Another point of reference in the concept of mystical Judaism is that there's no such thing as going to be completely physical. There's no something that's going to be completely spiritual. Every chomer, every materialistic object has a tzura in it, has a spiritual aspect to it. Everything. The different levels, and we see the different levels, but everything has a spiritual aspect in it. We call it a divine spark, call it whatever you want. You would find this, for example, this greater awareness to such things, for example, in what we would refer to in our arrogance at quote-unquote primitive cultures, when they would have respect for all things. We don't really care about anything of the spiritual, in return also disregard anything, any object. We don't care about most of the things besides ourselves, because we are unable to connect spiritually to that divine spark that resonates on that object, whatever that object would be. It could be anything from a stone to a human and everything else in between. Everything has that tzura, that spiritual shape in him. Even though they are complete opposites, almost like East and West, you have to have both of them. Sometimes more than the other, and you'll see exactly what happens. But we'll see what happens now, which is very fascinating. That unification, that connection between physical and spiritual creates a most magnificent thing, and that creates our world, the universe, us, our feelings, emotions, and so on and so forth. And not only that they are connected and they go hand in hand, those attributes of spiritual and physical, but they also complete each other. I would hate to use this term, but nevertheless, if it works, it works. It's almost like the ultimate dance of yin and yang. It's ever changing, and one has the other. You can't have one without the other. It needs to be in somewhat of a harmony. In other words, when the gvura, when we're talking about gvura, comes to be able to express itself, when it dresses up on the body, when it fits the body, then the body in return acts in a certain way. So therefore, only through the reflection of a certain spiritual attribute, I will act in one way or another. Sometimes it could be the other way around. I could affect that by closing a source of light, and by physical actions, it would affect my spiritual. But you need one in order to have the other. You can't one without the other. Therefore, humans, for example, are maybe the best example how those come to a fine balance of spiritual and physical, because man is basically the only creature that is able to execute and generate his own spiritual thoughts into action. That's why man is different than the rest of the creatures. Not that there's no intelligence, not that there's no divine, spark in other creatures and so on and so forth. Man is different in his ability to take a concept and execute it, to take a thought and execute it into an action. It's a unique thing. That's the whole difference between men able to take objects and to create tools to serve his needs. Many scientists who try to do whatever they can in their power to eliminate God out of the picture will try to find any possible hint for usage of quote-unquote tools by other primates, right? To say, oh, you see, they are using a tool. So if a monkey, for example, an orangutan or whatever we have it, will take a straw and will put it into an ant pile to take the ants like this and to eat and say, oh, that's a tool. You see, man came from monkey. This could be as far as east from west. This is not, it's impossible. And again, you can use science, or science should be used to explain and to understand God better in the world, not to use it to take God out of the picture. Now, you can try as much as you want. It's just impossible. Because whether you like it or don't like it, He's always there. And if you push Him, He'll come to you again. You can't get rid of God. And so whatever, so instead of wasting your efforts or taking God out of the equation so you can do whatever you want, might as well take this energy and do something useful with it. Take this world, make it into a better place. Now, so when, for example, I'm talking about a person, let's say, for example, I'm talking about Mr. Smith, right? I don't refer to his flesh, to his skin, to his bones. I refer to his essence, to his entity. And according to what we said previously, when I refer to Mr. Smith, I refer to the tzura, the shape, the spiritual shape in him, not to his physical body. Because you do know that we do change. Look at your pictures if you're old enough. Look at your pictures from 30 years ago, or from 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, and it looks like a totally different person. Many times when you look at the mirror, you do see another person, you don't see really yourself. Because yourself is not that flesh and bones and skin. Yourself is something else. We always say, when I say, for example, my head hurts. And therefore I will tell you, my car is white, therefore this car belongs to me. So that my car, and I give you an indication, my car is white. But if I will tell you my head hurts, the question will be, who are you? Who is that who owns that head that just right now hurts? Who is that? That person is your soul, the spiritual part inside of you. And it doesn't make a difference if you're an atheist or you are ultra whatever. You have a soul and you refer to yourself as I, not to your body. Said, I have a strong body. My back hurts. My stomach hurts. I am. And so on and so forth. You always refer to the person to his tzura, to his spiritual shape and form. And that shape would include his qualities, his the way he conducts himself, his outlook, and so on and so forth. The body is no more than the vessel who holds the shape, the tzura, the spiritual. It's just a vessel. There's no more than that. All your opinions, all your, you could have identical twins that they would think completely different. One will be a liberal, the other one will be a Tea Party. They're different. Physically, they're identical. Spiritually, they're different. The body is just a vessel that holds the tzura inside. The body of the person, which is very important, would reveal many times by his actions what your soul is really like. Your actions will tell about yourself. the way you act. Chazal said to us, you want to see who the person is? Measure him, bekiso, with the way he handles his money, bekoso, the way he handles his drink, ubekaaso, the way he manages his anger. Kiso, koso, bekaaso. These are only external actions that will tell me a lot about who you are. If yesterday we spoke about micro expressions, we can continue in that trend. Your body would reveal a lot about what you say. If you, for example, say something that is not so true, you would feel a little uncomfortable. People would, without even knowing if it's true or not, will pick up on this dishonesty of your statement because your body reveals what you really have to do inside. It's a reflection of that inside. So, for example, since it's the vessel, and it would reflect all my spiritual powers, the total sum of all my spiritual power would manifest themselves one way or another through my actions. That's what Chazal says. Give tzedakah. In a way, also train yourself. Train yourself by your actions, affect yourself also spiritually inside. But you could determine a lot about a person. You want to see who the person is, look how he drives. It could be the nicest guy in the world. Gets into the car, Walt Disney, right? The guy with the car, I forgot who it is, Pluto, whatever it is. Goofy, yes. Goofy. So really, is the person really nice? Or he's really a ugly person in hiding? And the body, in a way, to kind of try to put this into shape, the body, in a way, is a transmitter and a translator of the language of the spirit. It's a decoder of this hidden language of your soul. The body, by his action, does that. Another word for tzura, for shape, we call or, light. And that light is inside the vessel, right? And it is a quite common expression to use it. For example, when we say or v'kli, light and vessel, chomer v'tzura, body and soul. These they go hand in hand. The vessel that therefore reveals the light itself by his actions is quite interesting. A person has an idea, or an idea which is spiritual comes into his head. As long as you are not using any of your limbs, your mouth, your hands, to execute this idea, that idea stays hidden in your head and nobody would know about it. The way to reveal is to really, and to address others with your idea, is to share it by whichever part of my body I chose to. Whether it's an idea that came that I chose my mouth to be the delivering vessel to do that, so therefore I would use my words to hand over an idea. Now that's why you got to be very careful with what do you say and how do you say. Because that's a reflection of who you are and what you really believe about that particular person. If I choose my hands, I choose my legs, I choose my fingers and everything else, every time a different part of my body becomes a vehicle to really decodify my thoughts, my spirit inside. So therefore, you look at the actions of the person and you could really know who he is without even saying a word. How the person sits. How does he conduct himself? How he holds himself. How he walks. How he talks. Without a doubt how he talks. But everything, you can learn a lot about a person. That's why it's something that I used to love to do, and I still love doing. You know, I hate going to doctors. I really hate going to doctors. It's, I think, sometimes the biggest waste of my time. Sorry, all the doctors. You know, for whatever reason, some doctors, you know, think that their time is more important than my time. And when I have to stay like an hour and a half in the doctor's office, I usually just, you know, usually after 45 minutes, I just get up and leave. I'll tell you the truth. But still, you know, you're sitting there or you're on a subway and there's nothing really to do. And what are you going to do? You're going to waste your time, you get angry. Okay, so let's try to do something more productive about it. What is there to do is very simple. Start looking at people. Observe people. And you really learn a lot about what to do and what not to do by observing people. It's one of my hobbies. I like to look at people. I like to observe them. Just out of curiosity. Everybody has their own scratch. Right? That's my scratch to do those things. So I like to observe people. So many times you really see things that it's a reflection of what you do. And you say, oh my goodness, this is not good. I need to fix it. I need to change it. I became aware that maybe I do certain things that are, you know, really repulsive. Argument's sake, I don't know. Twiddle with your beard, you know, you play something. You never thought there's anything wrong because you always do it yourself. You're busy hands. But all of a sudden you see someone that does it and you find it very annoying. You say, one second, well, I do the same thing. And that's not good. So therefore, look at other people's, and you'll see that, and you become more aware of yourself. And so therefore, as we said previously, the tzura, the shape that comes into the chomer, into the material, and operates it into the body and operates it, is the same thing as the Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create different types of shape and form. Not all humans are the same in terms of their bodies. Not all stones. There are stones, there are animals, there are different types of animals. Right? And therefore it will be like, and you have to understand it will have to fit. In other words, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the shape of a rock, it created a spark that will go along with it. And if I would need to elevate that by action of me, because it's kind of, you know, so therefore a different spark will have to come in and elevate it as well. For example, if I have a cow or I have a chicken, so a chicken could not have a human soul in it. It just does not fit. Interesting concept. Right? So therefore a chicken has a chicken soul in it. How would a chicken elevate itself? I'll tell you how. I'll make a bracha. I'll shecht it. I'll slaughter it. I kosher it. I'm getting rid of the blood. All that animalistic spirit in it. Because I'm not supposed to consume it. Because it would overtake my body. Then will create a tremendous imbalance inside of me. I don't want to eat a lot of blood. I don't want to eat a lot of meat. Because what will happen? Then I will make a bracha. And I'm eating this chicken. So now I made a bracha. I sanctify the action of slaughtering. I elevated one level. Another level. Another level. Another level. Until it becomes appropriate for me to consume. Now after I've made the bracha, I elevate the chicken to a level in which be appropriate for me, then I would eat it. Inside my body, through the physical, that would break it apart, and that chicken, believe it or not, will become a part of me. I would not be able to deal with this if I would not elevate the chicken to a level that would be appropriate for me to consume it. It would overwhelm me. It would affect the physical act of eating, would overwhelm me spiritually. That's what the Ramban writes, that eating things that are not kosher would be metamtem et hanefesh. Metamtem is not you can become stupid, will become spiritually opaque. there's going to be a disconnect for you spiritually. It will be very hard for you to elevate your first spirit because it's not appropriate for you to consume. In certain religions, they would not eat anything that has a so-called living soul in it. But that's a mistake. Everything has a living soul in it, appropriate to its level. People who did understand you are what you eat. Certain people, for their lifestyle, needed to be able to eat raw meat and so on and so forth, because they needed this in them spiritually. If I would now go on a diet like, I don't know, a Native American in the prairies, which their diet was perfect for what they needed to do, if I would do it, I would feel completely out of place. And the other way around, if I was Cheyenne in the prairies and I would eat sushi, that would not be good for me. Or I eat what I eat today, cakes and whatever else, it won't be good for me. I won't be able to. So I need to match my needs with my spirit, with my physical, in my consumption as well. That's why we make brachot on things. That's why we are certain things could eat, we cannot eat. That's why we, for example, salt meat, but we don't salt. I mean, we do eat salted fish, but not for the sake of appropriation, because of the spirit of that. A person, therefore, so you see, if I eat if there is a grass, let's go back to the prairies, right? I eat a grass. How does the grass elevate? Well, the buffalo will eat it, or bison, or whatever, tatanka, or whatever you want will eat it. The deer will eat it. I will capture it. So now it went from tzomeach, from a plant form, it went up on a ladder, right? And now it becomes a more advanced creature. Now it's a buffalo. It's a living animal. So in a way, it went up in the spiritual ladder as well. Then the person will eat it, and it will become a person, and so on and so forth. And in return, everything goes back into the recycle. And there is a separation of body and soul upon your death, and the neshama goes up and goes down. How does a person to elevate himself? A person elevates himself very, very simple. It starts, first of all, with recognition that even us, our neshamot, are not the same. I mean, we have the neshama, but the neshama evolves. So therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu matches the body with the soul. A baby, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him a neshama that is appropriate to him, in its shape, in its condition, with the potential to grow to become whatever they want. The more the person grows and develops, he becomes more spiritual also, hopefully. That's why when we have a person that he is mature physically, but never bother to elevate himself spiritually as well, we have an imbalanced state of mind. In one hand, you have a body of an adult, but spiritually, you are at a level of an infant, and that creates an imbalance. And when there is an imbalance inside of you, you create imbalance all around you. So you need to develop spiritually. Torah is the best vehicle to elevate yourself spiritually, to understand better. The other inferior elements or procedures that will help you that. For example, if a person would listen to a little bit more, let's say, classical music, he grows out of, heavy rock and roll, and now he wants to listen a little bit of Vivaldi, he wants to listen to some Boccherini. He develops. He's not the same person. These are reflection of changes inside of you, not because you are old, because you are spiritually mature. Sometimes it will be the other way around. If a person develops quickly, spiritually, and his body is not yet, he might feel himself almost like as a social outcast. He doesn't feel connected to the other people because they're still playing games on the computer. And he thinks philosophical question. That also needs to be under control. That's one of the reasons they say when you learn Kabbalah you have to be of a certain age, because it might prematurely graduate you out of school of spiritual growth. You're going to outgrow your class. You're going to outgrow the level that you are. You need to be balanced. One of the tricks that Achashverosh played on the Jews, that he gave each age group its appropriate wine. If you're going to give wine, old wine, to young people, it won't suit them. So he gave every age group his appropriate age wine. To the elders, he gave very old wine. To the young people, he gave them young wine to match that as well. And so on and so forth. So therefore, after we see all these things we put in place, we see that really what determines who the person is and your character is really your soul. What we call the tzura, the spiritual, the light. That would determine your spiritual entity. That would determine the characteristic of that person, and would determine the reality of where this person is right now. Therefore, we could say that the neshama, the spiritual, is the essence of reality. Your reality is, where is your neshama at this point? How many times have we spoken about shidduchim, matching, when the guy just looks on the outside? If you are a person who is looking to get married and all you care is how the other person looks, I am sorry to say, I don't think you're ready to get married. Absolutely not. So therefore, a person that understands that he has a choice, and that's why the recognition of choice is great in Judaism, should realize that he wants to grow and develop. We said that everybody wants to get better in everything they do, business and so on and so forth. Very few people says, I want to get better in spirituality, I want to become a better person. So therefore, when you understand that, your best instrument to do that, the best way to do that, is through self-contemplation. That's called tshuva. And tshuva still needs some fuel, and that is Torah and mitzvot. So Rabotai, change your reality. It's not a virtual reality. Stop living in virtual reality. Real reality. Reality is you have to invest in your soul. And the best commodity, the best transaction is the money of the spiritual world is Torah and mitzvot. Set yourself time to learn. Be more careful. Be mechabed habriot. Respect people. Pay attention to what you do. And never stop learning Torah.